My name is HAASS, and I've been working for almost 35 years in the field of robotics. And I'm very happy to be here at the opening of European Robotics Week 2016. This European Robotics Week is getting more and more important because the field of robotics, the technology, is discussed controversially in the society and in the media. We all know about the potential risks of autonomous driving. We know about robots which are taking actions which are unpleasant or maybe without our own responsibility. So I feel there's a necessity to bridge the gap between technologists and the general audience, the population. The society is, as we know, in danger of being split, and look at the most recent political events. It shows that we have to bridge the gap between parts of the society. We have to bring them together, and European Robotics Week is certainly one important aspect, especially with the technology which is, as I said, rather controversially discussed.
Maybe you can, with all of your experience with it, perhaps you could give us some examples of the potential of robotics and some of the challenges maybe that we'll face along the way as well.
Robotics is being now, I would say, explored and discovered in many fields with very interesting results. For example, in agriculture. Agricultural robots, there is a variety of potential applications, but one is, for example, the so-called precision farming, where robots look at plants, they roll up and down, move up and down, and they identify, let's say, the health of a plant, and if it is required they would add some water or pesticide, but just a minimum. So it's a completely different view opposed to current agriculture. It's more like organic growing, and it should help us also to feed the growing population on Earth. It's just one example. There is the potential for using robots in mines underground, and the so-called human-less, so there's no human worker in an underground mine anymore, because the machinery is working autonomously. There is the potential for healthcare. It's an enormous potential. It's from hospitals, logistics in hospitals, to treatment, to rehabilitation. There are plenty of examples where robotic systems, not only robots as they are used in manufacturing, they are completely different, are being used in healthcare. It's the area of rescue, for example, robots rescuing people, the inspection of underwater systems here to avoid any accidents, for example, in the North Sea. So there are plenty of applications which are now developing and becoming also business cases. And I believe this will somewhat explode within the next 15 years into many, many areas. So robotics will become a ubiquitous technology, even in household items, not only just the vacuum cleaner, as people know already. So it will become a really pervasive technology, and this is why the population has to be part of this development. Otherwise they will at some point start possibly a reaction which is probably more disruptive than our technology itself.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. I'm Nuray GOKALP. I work for the city of Amsterdam, and specifically I organize monthly tech events in the city hall in Amsterdam, where there is a monthly topic like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, big data. The next one will be femtech. And this is a diverse group, like a conference with civil servants from the government pitching problems, like challenges, and then we have solution providers, which can be from the private sector, like big corporations or startups, scale-ups, but also knowledge institutions and foundations.
Okay.
So students. So it's a very diverse group where we have problems and solutions, and now investors are also involved. So we also have the money to make it happen. Yeah, that's about it.
So, tell me, why are you and why is the city of Amsterdam interested in robotics?
So, let me say also personally, I mean, that's why I initiated this whole Amsterdam Tech City. And now it's also apparent that we as a city also find it extremely important. We're already very active in the smart cities domain, where we are looking at also technology, not only, but also technology which can make a city smarter. And well, robotics is a combination of, let's say, the Internet of Things, where a robot is a thing, and artificial intelligence, the machine learning side of it. Why the city, and especially I can talk personally, I think it's really interesting is that it has a lot of potential to empower people and thus cities. And a lot of very basic, repetitive and administrative, very basic activities could be done by robots, where people could do more perhaps interesting and fun activities. And at the same time, I do believe that it's really important to do this together. So also with the group of people who might feel threatened because they would lose their job, to involve them in the whole process, because it might not be that they will lose their job, but that it will change where they will have to maybe manage the robots, for example. Yeah, and I think it's really important that we do this as a whole society in an inclusive way, where we stay connected with everyone. That means also people who will have different jobs, new jobs, so that it's for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, because you answered my third question as well. Which was how can it help society? So, openness and inclusivity.
Well,
yeah.
That's great.
Great, excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hello, I'm Elisabeth. I'm working for KUKA since 10 years now. My background is master's degree in mechanical engineering, and now I started with KUKA in production planning. So I was looking at the whole picture, and now I'm working for the holding, for the HAASS Innovation Manager. And my main focuses are human-robot collaboration and also new production areas in the industry.
Okay. What do you personally feel is some of the potentials and some of the challenges for robotics?
The challenges for robotics is really to get out into the field, and I'm not talking about mower robotics or so I go out about kinematics who are moving in different ways. And even in industry you see that a 6X robot who is moving is sometimes challenging for people to realize, and I think for when we focus on elderly care and so, it will be also some new thing to use it, and also how to use it, and let's say how easy you can use it, how do you say it, with no technical background to use it. I think that's the biggest challenge for the robotics.
Okay, great. As you may know, women are underrepresented in technology subjects, in engineering. How do you feel we can encourage more girls at school and more women at university engage with science subjects, and also make the connection between research and then entrepreneurship.
Yes, I think when you bring more girls into technical things, I think this starts within the family. I think the family background is mandatory, even if there are today so many offerings for girls in techniques and everything. But I think this background to stay curious and also come into techniques for girls starts in the family. And of course, I think the most we have a lot of women in research, as you mentioned, and not so many in industry. And I think this is maybe a thing where also the women itself have to work on it and say, okay, I will do this and try this. And I think that's why I think we have all the possibilities now as women. We do have it, even if there are some stereotypings, colleagues or something. But we have these opportunities, and it's on us to use it and to challenge it and say, okay, I will do this and not think too much about it. I think that's sometimes the biggest border.
Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Chris Holder. I am a partner in an English law firm called Bristows. I am specialised in commercial IT work, which means I do a lot of contracts for the sale of mainly IT goods and services in the UK, across Europe and around the world. And more recently, over the course of the last few years, I have been focusing on robotics and artificial intelligence. So that's what I do.
Okay, excellent. So Chris, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you think the potential for robotics is.
I think the potential is absolutely vast, and I'm drawing on parallels from my time in the early 90s, again as a commercial IT lawyer, and looking at the change that technology had on the way we work and the way we socialise, and that movement from data centre-centric organisations to client-server, to mobile, the use of things like iPhones and various things. But yes, as a new technology, I think it will touch everybody's lives. I think it will have a massive impact on the way we live our lives, the way we do business and interact with each other. So yes, I think it's a huge potential.
I mean, in your particular field, what do you feel personally are some of the largest challenges that need to be overcome?
Understanding the technology, understanding the impact it's going to have, and having legislators from around the world creating laws that will help the technology develop, but also help society deal with issues. As an example, autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars, road traffic laws around the world will have to change and adapt to take account of the new technology and define driver. In most of the laws that in all the jurisdictions around the world, there has to be a driver. But if you're sat in your car and you're not doing anything, who is the driver? Is it the car itself? Is it a software program? Is it something else? So it's that type of impact the technology will have, and that's how laws will adapt, and that's why I'm very interested in it as a lawyer, helping to adapt those laws and helping to interpret those adaptations.
Could you tell me a little bit about what you work on in robotics, please, and introduce yourself as well?
I'm Sabine. I'm a lecturer in robotics from the Bristol Robotics Laboratory. I'm interested in swarm systems. If you look at birds and ants, they can do all these beautiful complex behaviors, and I take inspiration from these swarms to engineer solutions for real-world applications in robotics.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the application areas for your particular the research that you do.
I'm really interested in systems that work with large numbers of robots. So I have 1,000 coin-sized robots in the laboratory that I can use to think about swarm algorithms that we might be able to use to clean up oil spills or to plant seeds in a farm. But I'm also interested in the area of nanomedicine, because in the case of nanomedicine you have trillions of nanoparticles that could be used to treat a cancer, and we need to figure out how to wrap our head around the complexity that involves so that we can do a better job in the treatment and diagnosis of cancer.
So there's clearly a lot of potential in the technology. What are some of the challenges that you're facing?
The challenge is really in understanding how you design a nanoparticle or how you design a robot so that when you have thousands of them working together, they do what you want them to do. So really the whole idea behind swarm engineering is to figure out those local rules or those very individual designs so that we are able to improve the overall outcome of what the system does.
Okay, what's your hope for your research in, let's say, 50 years' time?
I really hope that we can have an impact in understanding how we can deploy systems that work in large numbers in reality. In the case of medicine, I really think that there's a lot of questions to answer about how we can improve the delivery of drugs to tumors. And some of the models that we're developing can really start to answer those questions today already.
Hi, I'm Andy BLEADEN. I work in Stockport in the UK for a local municipality there. We're involved with many European projects, and I'm here today at the Robotics Week event here in Amsterdam. We're involved with a couple of robotics projects ourselves, which are European cooperation projects funded by the European Commission. We get to work in cooperation with other people around Europe on robotics, specifically in the health and care sector.
Okay, maybe you could give us a little bit of an overview of some of the projects that you work on, and then explain what you personally feel is the importance behind the project.
Okay. Well, I can tell you about two of our projects. The first one is Project Silver, which we did, which was a pre-commercial procurement project. The European Commission took a risk with. They wanted to see if we could build a pre-commercial procurement program targeting robotics for seniors that would give other people tools and good practices to run other pre-commercial procurements. This was at a time when not a lot of people used that as a tool for procurement. And we ran a series of competitions, for want of a better word, to target robotics in its widest form that could assist with seniors across Europe. So we worked in partnership with Finland and Denmark and the Netherlands and Sweden, and obviously in the UK, to come up with almost like a shopping list for a competition, a pre-commercial procurement. And at the end of that, which is the project's now ended, we came up with a really successful robot designed and built here in the Netherlands by Robot Care Systems called Leia, and that was a robotic stroller which we've now tested in the UK, and we're going to be testing again in the future. That's one project. The other project we're involved with is Project Mario, which again is funded by the European Commission, who are here today. And this is a different type of project because it's targeting isolation, and isolation specifically for people who are living with dementia. That's not a subject that's been tackled before. Very often people say, well, people with dementia, who are living with dementia, they shouldn't be using robotics. It's not appropriate. That's an assumption, and we're challenging that assumption, and also challenging the technology that we know we've got. We've seen here at the Robots Week some of the speech synthesis to see if robots can actually interact with people and talk and be a companion, and that's the crucial thing with Project Mario.
Do you feel then that creating technology that really becomes that companion is one of the challenges for the technology itself?
I'll answer that with a question, which is, would I want to use it myself? We know, in the UK and in all over Europe, we have a problem with people who are isolated. They spend more time with the TV than they do with their family or their friends, because they either have no family or friends nearby or they have no contact. Those people are alone. I can only put so much services from a municipality into their homes, because of challenging costs, etc. But very often what they want is companionship. And so what we want to be able to do is try and design a robot that can communicate with and respond to people who are living with dementia. And that's a challenge, because that's not been done before.
So, Andy, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about the European dimension to this type of work.
Well, I speak as someone who comes from the UK, and the UK's obviously got its issues with Europe at the moment, with the whole Brexit thing. But I speak as a proud European who's been involved with a lot of European cooperation projects. And Europe get this idea of cooperation. You don't get this anywhere else across the world. This cooperation between different countries using technology from one country with expertise, software expertise from another, and an app store from another, and municipalities from another. Joining up people from miles apart and collaborating to come up with best practice. And the European Commission, I think, do a really good job with this, because what they do, they put their money where their mouth is. They want to see European software manufacturers and European hardware manufacturers hitting the market before the competition. And this does it. This puts an example with us, with Project Silver, is we had a really successful startup university spin-off company based in the Netherlands in Utrecht. And at the end of that European cooperation Project Silver, that company is now growing, expanding, and looking to basically hit the market. That's a success story, and that's a success story you need to keep bringing up and reusing, because it's an example of where European cooperation works.
Hello Anita, welcome. Could you maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your work and what you're doing?
1.5 years ago, we founded a foundation, Generations in Touch. And there was only one goal to found this foundation, and that is that unemployed young people connect to the elder people, and in which way to connect that the young people who are all the youngsters know to handle the digital, and so to let them in a cafe, in every room there is available to teach them, the elder people, in the digital things.
Okay.
And what is the problem? There is a social problem of unemployed young people, and there is another social problem of the loneliness of the elder people.
Okay.
And by this connection, you solve a huge social problem.
Okay.
That is the goal.
Okay, so what do you think then? I mean, you've illustrated a little about the potential, but maybe you could give us a little bit more. What do you feel are the challenges to achieving what your goal is?
That is, we already had a pilot.
Yes.
And then you see that the young people, by this connection, they are very happy to do this, and the elder people get out of their isolation,
yes.
And at the same time they learn to connect to other people by digital, and they love it. As soon as they get also repetitions, they love it, and they see what the possibilities this gives.
And what do you hope then? What is your hope for the impact on society? How do you think we can change society by using these technologies?
You see now that all the people who use digital, social media, and all the digital possibilities, they love it. And my goal is now in the developing the robotics, that the elder people learn to have access to this kind of nice things of life that can help you so much in your life with practical things. So my goal, my intention is that elder people are not anymore lonely because they make this digital connection, and also they see what they are developing for robotics to help to make their lives easier. The only thing is, what is very important, that it will be carried by the government to put money in make it accessible for everybody. That is my goal.